So I was laying in bed and I was sort of having a little feel around and found like a little sort of pea-sized, like, you know, tiny little like bit. It was like a solid on my right testicle. So yeah, I was just, you know, you always remember when you find it because I was sort of like, oh, well, that's not good. And you Google stuff, you know, you start doing that, start like panicking. Well, to be honest, I wasn't that panicked. I just thought, oh, maybe this is, I don't know, I thought cancer immediately, but loads of people were like, oh, it's probably just stress. And I was like, I'm not stressed. I mean, I was working this job in the summer, my normal job, but it was like booked in like surveys, and you turn up in the morning, do like an hour's work, and then I'd be sitting around the swimming pool because it was like height of summer. Like, I was like, I'm not stressed. Like, I'm just like, you know, I'm getting like 10 hours sleep like every night. Like, so, and then I didn't straight away go to the GP, but maybe quicker than some people. I've heard some people give it ages, like they leave it way too long. I mean, it was like a good couple of weeks, and then I was like, oh, I should probably go, and because it was getting slightly bigger. So I was like, well, it's not going, it's not like a cyst or like, oh, you're stressed and it'll just go on its own. It was more, oh, like, no, this is actually getting worse. So I when I saw the GP, they didn't really do much. They were just like, oh, okay, just give it like a few days then, and then we'll reassess. I'm like, okay. Like, oh, he felt it and stuff. And then eventually it came back and I was like, oh no, it's getting worse. And then it got to a point, it was like the size of like a golf ball, which is quite big. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, golf ball is about the size of a testicle. I'm like, no, testicles, like, when you feel it, it's tiny. Like, really, they're small little pathetic things. Like, I'm glad I got rid of it. But like, it's yeah, it's like, it was like a golf ball, and it was like you know, it was like a mass. Like, it wasn't solid anymore. It was a bit squishy, but it was like tender. It was like, ooh, like, this isn't good. This definitely ain't good. And I was like, I'm quite tired as well, and I don't know why, because I'm getting so much sleep, and it's like, maybe, oh, it's the heat. I was walking between two jobs, and I do a lot of walking, but I had my bag on with the tools, and I thought, oh, maybe it's that, and also training a lot. I do loads of training. I thought maybe because I've started doing weights in the morning and then doing my sort of 3 hours of like MMA of an evening, it's a bit much. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm just knackered from that. But then, because it was getting bigger, I was like, no, it's definitely. So they got me in to do an ultrasound. We had a look, and you know, I'm trying to get it out of them. You're like, you can tell me, and she's like, I can't tell you, it's not my job. And then, so it gave it a few weeks after that. I went to Cornwall with my girlfriend at the time, and I was like surfing and all that stuff. I loved like outdoors, like activity sort of things, and got the phone call, and they're like, oh, can you come tomorrow? And I was like, no, I'm like 7 hours away. But they're like, oh, I was like, well, is it to do with the testicle by any chance? And they're like, yeah, there's something nasty going on, so we have to, when can you do? And I was like, oh. So we booked in that appointment, came back, and then went to the Queen's Hospital in Romford, which is like my local hospital. And I spoke to this doctor, and he said, look, we don't know if it's cancer or not, but it needs to be removed, because that's how we can see if it's cancer. Like, I think that's like a thing everyone knows now. So I was like, okay, cool, great. When? Like, it was like, so we had a surgery booked in, and I had like a CT scan. Didn't think anything of that. I completely forgot about it actually. And then about a month later, I had an appointment with Bart's Hospital. So I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. Like, bit weird. It's normally doing Queen's. Went to Bart's. I was on my way to work, so I just told my boss, look, I've got an appointment in the morning, and then I'll go to the job, whatever we're doing. And I went in. I was just on my own, like normal day really. And he just sort of like, you know, did the whole, all that sort of. He had like an assistant with him. He was like, so So you know, you haven't had the surgery yet. I'm like, no. He's like, well, I can tell you now, it is cancer, and it has spread. And I was like, okay, whereabouts? And he was like, well, quite a few areas. And I was starting to think, oh, like I'm gonna die. Like, because if you're saying a few areas, you mean everywhere. And he got his scan up. He's like, you remember the CT scan? I was like, oh yeah, now I do. And it was, you know, the lung. It was about 14 different spots. It looked like, you know, I thought Star Wars was going to come up. It was like the galaxy. But and then he sort of. So I was just like, oh right. So what do we do here? Because, you know, like, what, I've got to have like 14 different surgeries. And he was like, no. He was like, we'll just get sorted with chemo. Like, I was like, okay, these are like specks. This isn't. They're not tumours just yet. They will be if we don't do anything. But he said we're gonna postpone the surgery, and then so I thought, okay, well that's good because I don't really want my testicle cut off, to be honest, at the moment. So that got postponed. But then he was like, well, we're gonna have to do chemo now, like tonight, and we're gonna have to do an MRI of your head. And I was thinking, I immediately went no, actually. Because my brain was just going, I'm supposed to be going to gym later, and I've got work. And then he was like, yeah, this isn't, you need to like sit with this for a bit. And I was like, oh yeah, like, and he was like, MRIs are really hard to get booked in. So he said it'll be a while until we get that again. Like, it'll be a good 2 weeks until we can get another. I was like, oh, okay, I should probably do that. I think it was just like, oh no, this is a bit much. And I remember him going, oh, so you haven't had the surgery, have you? So you still, I was like, yeah, may I? And I was like, yeah, we're a doctor. Showed him, and then he, just bare hand, no glove, just straight there. Just looked at me, like, just like almost like smirky, like you can see the light in his eyes, just like, oh, I know you feel real uncomfortable right now. And he just, it is quite a mass, isn't it? And then he just went, let me put your trousers back up. Just sat there and I didn't even wash his hands. I was like, what? And then, you know, I thought me and John are gonna be best friends. So we weren't. And then, you know, the person, the nurse that was in there, she was like, are you all right? Do you want to chat? And I'm like, not really. I just sat in where they wait for the blood test and just sort of sat for like 2 hours. Didn't talk to anyone. Didn't call anyone. Just like took it in. So I'm quite glad I was on my own, to be honest, because a lot of people panic. A lot of my family, but cancer. I just didn't even, almost like it didn't even compute. Like it was just took it in properly, and then I was like, right, let's get on with it. Like I was like, oh, I will do the MRI actually. I walked out the hospital, and the first person I called was my boss because I thought, well, he's probably thinking it's a bit late. So I explained it to him. He was like, oh, just no one knows what to say on the phone. I told my girlfriend at the time. She was like, oh, right. Like, you know, like just Jesus. Like, my mate cried his eyes out, and I just thought a bit overreacting. And then my brother's brilliant. He also had cancer when he was 14. So he's been really good with someone to talk to, because a lot of people haven't really gone through it. So then that night we started on the ward. I was fine until someone came in and was like, oh, you know, the blood clot injections. He just did it, didn't even ask, just bang, straight in the stomach. I was like, oh! It's like 3 in the morning. I was like, oh. And then that was when I was just like, oh, for God's sake, like that. I was like, that's when it kind of hit a little bit. I was like, oh, this is so shit. This is actually like, oh. And then there was a guy watching Harry Potter, and it was the bit in the film, you know, when he goes, I'm ready to die. And I was like, oh mate, this is so depressing. It was 3 in the morning, he's watching Harry Potter. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. And and just like, yeah, so just started chemo. I thought, wow, this is actually not what I thought it was gonna be. And it was BEP chemo, the one that everyone else sort of has probably had. And then, you know, I was going to the gym, running, I climbed Scarfield Pike, I was like wild swimming, kind of not really looking after myself. I was having like a lot of drinking, and not looking after my body, but looking after it in the fitness kind of way, but just not with what I was putting in. I actually bulked up quite a bit because of the steroids, and I was eating everything. So I was like quite heavy. So I went back to training. I was just absolutely smashing people up because I was just a lot heavier and stronger, which I didn't think that was going to come from having chemo. And then after three cycles, so 9 weeks later, we went back, and it's all gone on the scan. It's looking good, and they were like, "We'll do a blood test, and you can go home, and you're in remission." And they shouldn't have said that, because they should have be certain it's remission. So they kind of flopped it there. But and then they called me that evening, and they're like, "Look, we've made a bit of a mistake. The tumour markers, so the blood test, it's basically it's spiked, so it's not over. You have to come back, but we'll give you a little bit of a break. Come back, enjoy your Christmas." I can't remember if it was Christmas or not, but yeah, I can't even remember. It's such a blur. But yeah, so they're like, "Look, we're going to book you in for the next lot. Talk to Dr. Shamesh. He'll let you know what you're going to do." So then we started the next treatment. By the way, I've done a lot of treatment. I was going to go through all of them. Yeah. I can't remember what this one's called, but it was like the cisplatin or something like that. I think it's the next one they do if it don't work. That stopped working. I can't actually remember how I felt on that one. I don't think it really. I was still going to the gym and kind of being a bit laughing at cancer. Chemo don't work on me. I wouldn't laugh now. But yeah, and my mates were like, "God, I don't know how you're doing that." And he was like, feeding your ego. "Yeah, I'm indestructible, idiot." And then sort of that stopped working sooner than the other one, and you can tell. So he was like, "Look, we're going to change the whatever you're doing, the treatment." So the next one was, I think it was like something with Rubicin, or it's nicknamed like Red Devil. I read somewhere, which I thought that's pretty cool. It didn't feel very cool. So that was like eight nights in the hospital, which I hated. I was a bit of a nightmare as well. I asked for like a bike machine, and they gave it to me. I was like, "Oh, sweet." So and then I just started every moment I got, I'd leave the hospital. And they're like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to go and get some food." And then it'll just be like dripping my arm, like gown. Everyone's out having like thirsty Thursdays, and I'm just I've just escaped a ward, like a mental asylum. So I didn't really care. I'd go get me food. Then I was getting just whatever. I actually bumped into my mate, and I went on a night out, but I didn't drink. Because I was like, I probably shouldn't actually. It's because I'm starting the cycle. I mean, if it was after, I could have a drink, but I went out with them because I'm not doing any more treatment tonight. It's like the drip in my arm. I was like, if people were looking at you like, "What is this guy?" But yeah, that was funny. And then that made my wee like bright red. That was when I started getting sick and like throwing up, and you do a wee in like a jug, and then the sight of it, I'll just throw up all over the wall. And normally when I throw up, I'm quite good at it. I'm like, I'll get somewhere and do it, but it was just projectile, like out of nothing, like whoa. And then I sweated, it was like very much, it's kicking in now. And then I was at home. I weren't being able to do it. I couldn't do it as much. I wasn't working, obviously. But yeah, and then that stopped working. So I was like, I started to think, oh God, like a lot of treatment's not working at the moment. So we then started this other one, and I don't know what it was called, but it's the one that it's like, when you do it, they go like, "No, nothing cold and hot," and like, so that's everything. And then so I did something that's slightly cold, and you can feel it all tingling. It reacts with temperature. And they'd done that in the winter. So it was, the winter that I got to go home, it snowed. So I was like, great, if I leave the house, I might die, actually. So, and I remember I left the hospital with my brother, and the first breath, because there's no ventilation. In the hospital, it's warm, and you can't open the windows. You can see outside, but I walked outside, like fresh air, like, and my brother was like, you all right? And I was like, oh God, like that's really, you feel your throat closing up. I was like, oh God, mate. Like it's such a weird feeling. So I just stayed at home. It was nice because it was snowing and it was cold, and all you want to do is just put films on. So I was like, this is good, and I won't die if I leave. So, but yeah, and then that stopped working, and then that stopped working. I asked one of the people part of my doctor's team, and she weren't great. I went, this we were talking about doing a high dose chemo with blood stem cell, and I said, if this doesn't work, it's over, isn't it? I went, we've got to be running out of options here. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, can't believe you just agreed. She was like, it's, it'd be very worrying. And I'm like, yeah, so death. When something's worrying in a hospital, it means you're gonna die. So I was like, okay. And then I just sort of, so he was like, okay, well, we're gonna carry on with this. I can't remember if it was another treatment, or we were still doing one treatment, or I think he gave me a break. I can't remember. But then he was like, look, that's it, had a break. He was like, right, we're gonna take the stem cells, but normally it'll be like a family member, and apparently I've got to do everything. So he was like, well, no, we're just gonna come take it from you. And I was like, great. So I get to sit on the machine for 5 hours. I turned up, there's one other guy doing it, and they basically plug you in one arm, plug you in the other arm. They turn this machine on, it sounds like it just turned on like a tumble dryer. It's like, and she's like, because everyone that has that look, and she was like, don't worry, it won't hurt. It just sounds like it's gonna really hurt. And I'm like, okay. It's like a big generator. Jesus Christ. And then and some other nice guy doing it for his brother, because they normally do it for leukemia. So he gave me a bit of chocolate. We was having a laugh, because not a lot of people are doing this. And then it basically takes blood out from you, goes into the machine, and then it takes the all the compounds from your blood, and then it just puts all the stuff it don't want back in you, because you alone can generate all them things again. So then they take that, they fill the bag up with all your stem cells and the blood and all that, and then they freeze it. And then it was a couple of months later, we tried a different treatment, I think. We did that in a little break, and we started another treatment, and that didn't work, obviously. And then we had a meeting, and my doctor was like, okay, look, we're gonna go and do the high dose chemo. Look, we have to now. This has stopped working. I think this is gonna work, because it's like a nuke on your body. And he said, we've harvested all the blood stem cells. I was like, that's good. But then he sort of said, do you want a number, like survival rate? And I was like, I was with my mum and my girlfriend at the time, and they were like, it's up to you. So, yeah, go on. Oh, I always want to know. And he was like, about 25% chance of this working. And then I was like, and he said, well, if it doesn't work, you've got a couple of years. And then he said, maybe less, really. He said, you'd be lucky to have maybe 2. And then obviously, that's what my girlfriend was like, living with cancer, I mean, how, and that's when he said, yeah, a couple, maybe less than 2 years. I was like, cheers for asking that. But I was a bit like, oh, right, cool. And then I guess that's the reaction that most people have when they get first told they've got cancer. I had that when it was like, no, this might not work, and you might actually just die when we just do the treatment. So I was like, okay. And he was like saying all this stuff. It was all like quite morbid stuff as well, like, you know, the risks and it was saying about death. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, he was like, you don't have to sign this just yet. I'm like, yeah, like, I was like, I'll just do it now, but like, oh, it's a bit. And I sort of came out that appointment and was just like shocked. My mum went one way, and then I walked with my girlfriend. I just was like, let's just walk to the main station. Like, I don't want to get the tube because I hate getting public, like, just busy. And then we just sat like on the train, just didn't speak a word. And then one of my mates I hadn't seen in years sits right opposite me, and I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, no, well, blah blah blah's pregnant, like his missus, and I was like, yeah, that's really great, like, thinking I'm probably never have kids. I'm probably going to die actually this year. And then I sort of explained my situation. It was like, oh, I'm probably the last person you want to see. And I'm like, yeah. But I was like, you know what, it's taken my mind off it. And it was my birthday the next day. I was turning 27. And I met up with some of my mates. I had to tell my brother, which was heartbreaking, because he's gone sober, and he was talking about that, and I was like, I'm really happy for you. I thought it was a good idea. And then we had like a meal, right to the end of the meal, that's when I decided to explain the situation. And it was just a bit, my brother's really good, he knows when to be there for you. I'm sure he had a lot of moments on his own, or with his girlfriend, just crying his eyes out. And I heard he weren't great. That's why he went sober, and other reasons. But he was always strong with me, and we'd always have a laugh. He's like, we'll get through this. We'll always get through everything. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And whereas other people cry to you, I don't need that. I need support, because I haven't even cried about this, like, until that night when I met my other mates. Bearing in mind, no one even knows the situation really. And oh, how you doing, Cal? Happy birthday. And I just sort of, just before I left, I kind of explained it then. And I just hugged all my friends and felt like it was like, bye, see you later, because I'm gonna go and die now. But even though it wasn't, I was just very in my head like, this is actually sort of it's not funny anymore. And I got home and sort of cried my eyes out. And I didn't really, was just feeling sorry for myself, to be honest. Like, you know, it weren't like a mental breakdown. It was just being like, just being a bit, which I think I ought to. And then girlfriend was really sad, and she was going, oh, don't leave me, like, don't. I was like, so yeah, you do think I'm gonna die? Winding her up a bit. But she, you know, I was just being a bit like that, and she was like, no, you're gonna be fine. And then I caught her in the bathroom just crying her eyes out, oh, don't leave me, don't, like, you know, all that. And then I was like, yeah, well, I'm not, I'm still gonna annoy her from the grave. No, but, and then we started this treatment. I went to a church, and I thought maybe if I really pray, I've never really believed in God, I think science, but then there is maybe a higher power. I've started trying to look for it. But I just thought maybe that's what I need to do. And I light a little candle and all that. Don't believe in actual God, I have my own beliefs. It's, you know, not Jesus walked through the desert and thought we don't know how to do. But yeah, so did that, and then just thought, well, tomorrow I could be dead, because we're going to start tonight. And he reckons it's like, I didn't know what I was getting in for. I thought, oh, it's going to be hard. I didn't realise it was going to be that hard. We started, and then they leave you for 4 days in the ward. Bearing in mind it's the height of summer, and you can't open the windows, so it's like boiling hot in this room. They gave me a fan. I had 2 fans on the go, sweating, and it gave me the first lot. And it's over like a course of 4 days, or for a couple of days they do chemo that's non-stop, and it's the high dose stuff. And I had a PICC line. I forgot about that. That's such a minor thing, but I'd never had one. And they started taking ages to find veins, and in the end I went, oh, I'll just do it. I didn't want one because I wanted to go and do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and then it'll get ripped out, but I'm like, I'm not doing that now, am I? So we'll just do the thing. And so we just plug you in, do the high dose, and then they said, well, what will we do? We just let your blood whites, the white blood cells, just drop to zero, just nothing. So they said, if you get ill, it won't be a visitor, it'll come within you. I was like, oh, that's good. So there's nothing I can do. and he just, yeah, so he was like, yeah. So I didn't actually get ill. It was the night he came in, he went, oh, I've never actually seen anyone take this so well. And then that night I got really ill and I was like, here we go, I'm gonna die. Because he told me someone got a cold the other day and they just got zipped up. And then they're gone. They're in intensive care and now they're dead from a cold. So I was like, yeah. So I got ill. They just give you like antibiotics in a drip and you're done. You know, oh, like, this is pretty decent. I just get it all the time. And then they give you all your stem cells back. And when they did it, it bursts the blood vessels in my eyes. So I couldn't see in my right eye and I could barely see in my left eye. So that was a thing. I didn't really mention it. It felt gradual. I was like, oh, maybe I'm just dehydrated, going blind. And then I had like this nerve damage in the hands and feet. I just thought maybe because I'm laying in a bed, you just can't feel your feet. And then they said, oh, you're going to get sores in your mouth if you don't do the mouthwash. I was doing the mouthwash. I thought, all right. I was like, I've had no symptoms from anything. But I remember him saying at the start, I know you haven't had anything, but he said, you're going to get all of it all in one. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I got all of it all in one. So yeah, obviously eyebrows were still on. They're the only thing that hang on through the whole lot. But this lot, they just came off. I went from 82 kilograms to 54 kilograms in just over 2 weeks. And that's from throwing up, like pooing, like just uncontrollably, just all directions. I couldn't walk, just where I haven't eaten. It was too weak. So yeah, and nerve damage. You can't feel anything in your feet. It's the balance. I was like C-3PO in Star Wars. Just like. So I had a nurse shower me, cream me up. It's pretty sexy. Yeah, she was good as gold, and she used to come in and chat to me. I lived in that hospital for a month and a half, I think. And he said, if it hasn't worked, that's it. And because we're not going to do it again, because it's too disruptive. This is too much for someone. And it worked. So I was like, good news, it worked. But you now have to do another lot of that. Normally we let you go home for a month. Here's 2 days. And I just was like sitting there, just miserable. Like, I just couldn't see. I started getting ringing in the ears. And I just looked like a bag of, costume of a man. But yeah, and then they took me back up to the hospital. I thought, well, that was pointless. I should have stayed here. I did ask to stay there, but they just said, no, you have to go home and then come back. It's something to do with what they've got to do. But and then we did it again. And it was, yeah, it got to a point I couldn't talk because I was spitting blood with the sores in my mouth. And then I had these milkshakes with calories in them. They said, get 2 milkshakes a day. Otherwise, we're going to have to do something else and you're not going to want that. And they were talking about getting a pipe to put in my stomach to feed me because I was just dropping weight. And then basically, I could barely get half a milkshake in. And there was loads of ice, but I was like, well, like no pain, no gain, all that crap. I was like, yeah, just do it. Just then in like knives, like drinking like glass. And then I had like people visiting, but just looking at you like, you could tell they were like, oh, he's gonna die. Like, this is it. Like, and I just, I couldn't even talk to them. Couldn't text because of nerve damage. I couldn't do anything. And then finally, at the end, my he caught wind that I was going to get a pipe put in my stomach. So I think he caught wind, and he was like, "Oh, you could probably go home tomorrow." And I was like, "Thank God." So I got home and just like a massive mental breakdown. Like my auntie and uncle and my mum and stepdad, they just went down the garden. It's all over, cheers and beers, and I just sat there with my girlfriend and just completely broke down, like massively. And she was like, almost look at me like, "Oh, you are human," because I've not acknowledged it really at all. Just battle mode all throughout. And then I was like, "Yeah, I need some help." Like, it's not even cancer related, it's everything, it's all resurfaced. I thought I was fine with things, but I'm not. I'm gonna resent everyone, I hate everyone. Like, I was angry and just driven from that. And it just took months to get back to a kind of fitness kind of level. Like, I started with soups, and then people would come visit. People, like half my mates didn't even know the state of me. They were going, "Oh, you coming to the wedding tomorrow?" I'm like, "You're joking." Like, I couldn't talk. I'm like, they're joking, ain't they? Like, just like, come visit me and you will see. I can't even walk with crutches. And I was trying to do laps around the block with my crutches, sweating, but I'm like, no, I need to do this. And just like, as soon as I could get milkshakes in, it was like milkshake after milkshake. Like to the point, like, because I hadn't gone to the toilet for over a month. I went to the toilet, it was like glass coming out. And it was like, I would be there for hours. But I'm like, it's because it's good. I'm getting stuff in now. And then I thought, eggs. I'll do a boiled egg. I'll eat that like a yogurt. And that worked. And loads of protein in it. I'd have like 6 eggs. And I'd have a whole load of eggs, just constant. Even if I didn't want it, I didn't fancy it. I'm like, no, I need to get back to what I was. And eventually got back to my flat. I was staying with family at the time because it's easier. And then eventually just like got fit enough to go back to work. But yeah, so it came back and it was just where I got fit enough to go back to work and was getting my weight back. I was a healthy weight. I was just about to go back to the gym and it spiked. And he was like, look, we don't think, we're going to do a test again, it might not, but he said, with your track record, we reckon it has come back. It's been 6 months since. Yeah, I was a bit, you've done so much treatment that I'm like, no, I'm doing what I want to do. I will do the treatment, but I can't be bothered to go out my way. You just like, I'm starting to lose hope a little bit. So yeah, and then obviously that stopped working, and that was 2 months ago. And I've just had a scan saying the tumour in my lung is 25 millimetres, so that means I'm eligible for this trial now. And we're looking to start on the 10th of June. And in the meantime, I've been doing half marathons, MMA, I went gym twice yesterday. I've gone sober. Went to an AA meeting with my brother, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is the next journey I need to be on. And after all this, I'm different compared to my friends now. I'm so far from that. It's so much has happened. It's even in support groups, I'm already the guy that's had too much treatment. It's like most people just done with BEP. I'm like 6 treatments, just like, I should be dead. So that's probably why I come a bit unhinged or a bit like, but yeah, maybe I am. And yeah, I was gonna remove my eye at one point, and that was only a few months ago, and I didn't even care. But they said, no, the eyes are fine, but that's why I've got glasses. Don't actually really need them, but it's affected a lot, and the nerve damage is still really bad. So I'm running around barefoot doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm annoyed because I can't walk on my hands or do the things I used to do. But I'm like, well, I can run with barefoot. And A few months ago, I couldn't even walk. So, and now I can run. And it's, you know, you just got to push yourself to do that. And I think I can push myself through anything. So we start this trial and I'm training for it and get as healthy as possible, because it's all down to your immune system, which I don't have anymore because of the higher dose. So, but you know, it's just base fitness, everything. I need everything in my corner. And then if it don't work, I will find other things, and it never ends. I just never give up. So that's my story. When it came back, I went and did loads of drugs, and I went right off the rails, because I just thought everything I've just done is for nothing. All of it, all the getting better and then working and work. Just thought, that's how you're repaid. Like that's the reward for trying to help yourself. And I'm like, it's just come back. But I'm like, I weren't looking after myself massively. Like I got to the point where I was healthy enough, but I couldn't do all the things I normally do. And when I can't do all the things I normally do, I just turned to, well, it's easy to sit in a pub. It's easy to go and snort some drugs. And it's easy to just, you know, because it's like you're not dealing with your problems, it's a distraction. And it's my brother, like, you know, he's sober at the time, he's probably thinking, oh man, you need to do what I'm doing, because you've got too much and you can't afford to do. Your mates are normal, they can take it or leave it, go for a beer, go home. I can't, I'll be up till 9 in the morning. So I didn't want to, and I thought, no, this is the last chance to do this, and I need to give it my all. And the best thing I ever did was, I'm going to go to an AA meeting with my brother, and it's not just alcohol, it's not just, you think, oh, it's going to be a room full of down and outs, like the best people I've met. Some of these people are so intelligent, and so it's a life lesson, it's a group therapy, it's not what you think it's going to be. It's not a lot of people crying, it's people, you're just talking about your problems, and then we all go for food after, and when we're having an actual conversation. It's not just, I find the best part of a night out is at the start, when you talk and you catch up with all your friends, and as soon as it's been a few hours and everyone's had a few drinks, you just go around again, and you just keep going around and when you don't drink, you find you're actually really tired. And it's just because you're like, yeah, I've got everything that I've wanted to say, and now I'm going to go home. Because I used to be the guy that would look at someone's Instagram story, I'm like, oh look, they're out having a good time today. I'm laying in bed with a Domino's, feeling sorry for myself. Now, I want to be that guy. Like when he left at 9 o'clock tonight, that was the time to leave. And then all the people come in for the session, and like the people that ain't even your friends, really. Like, you've got nothing in common with these. All you're doing is chasing a night. And it's because your life is upside down. So you just, where's the next bit? Nah, just cut it out. And I'm acknowledging what's happened. And I'm not scared of it. I'm not, cancer, the big C. The big C, just say it, cancer. That's what it is. Like, everyone dilly-dallying around it all, and it does wind me up. And I'm like, I've met some people that, they're just constantly, I haven't told anyone. I'm like, tell everyone. Best thing I did, started doing videos on social media. Bearing in mind, I've kept away from social media all my life. I don't really care for it. I did one video, or a few videos, and then it went viral. And I was like, he'd got a good following. I've got loads of followers come in. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. But then I'm getting people messaging me. I'm like, it's the best thing I've ever done. Talk about it. And my friends that didn't even know what I was going through, because I did videos of my old, like coming out of the hospital, crutches. They're like, mate, I didn't even realise. And I feel so guilty. I'm like, yeah, you should really. But I forgive you. Like, because I'm like, you know, I've done it. My uncle died. I didn't visit him that much. He had cancer, because you want to keep away from people that, well, that could happen to me. You don't want to look at someone that's all skin and bones. It's the same people that people look down on homeless people. It's a mirror, and you're thinking, well, that could be me. That's why people don't acknowledge her. And I'm like, no, like, it's the best thing I ever did. And now that's why I do this stuff. I want to talk to people that have had the same journey, and yeah, and that realisation, probably the happiest I've ever felt. Just knowing my path for the first time ever, and realising that actually you don't have any control over anything. People think, oh, look, how's that worked for you? Oh, worrying about this, worrying about that. Like, but you've always been all right. Like, it's not. So just let the next thing happen, and just, you know, the next thing, trial. Do the trial. Right, do the trial. It works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But then you've got the next thing. It's like, and I'm like, you know, I've got my job. I like it, but I'm not. You know, I'll go and do another thing. I'll go and travel. You find something. I'm like, oh, this feels right. I'm going to do this. It's like living in the present. I can't live in the past because it's depressing, and then I can't live in the future because it's very worrying. So live now, and, you know, oh, do you want to go and do this thing for a charity? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll meet people, and then, you know, get some numbers of people. It's just, you know, connecting with people. That's what's really important. But yeah, I've never been so confident in myself. Even though what's happening, everyone's like, oh, that's really bad. I'm not, I'd still rather be me, actually. I think, yeah, the going a bit off the rails is a bit sort of like desperate, but I don't feel like I've ever been like panicked, or, you know, I'd take things out on my girlfriend at the time. So I could see why it was like not great, because emotionally I was either not there, completely just disconnected from, because just like, it's what it is, always is, can't do anything about it. And it's just like, you know, if someone dies, they're gone. You know, the next part is get over it. Not get over it, but you just learn to live with it, and that's what cancer is. Everyone going, oh, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? Well, okay, go and tell them. It will make no difference. So I think it was just, you know, it's so out of your control that my way was just go and drink, or, you know, if I could go gym, I would have done that. And I wish I could, because I wouldn't have been destroying my body in another way. You know, I thought chemo had done it enough, do you know what I mean? But I thought, no. And I think maybe I didn't really want to live. That's why I was doing it. A bit like, might be dead tomorrow. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's not the way, because it's a negative way to think. Just, you know, you've got no belief in you. Like, everyone goes, oh, you know, you're so strong mentally. I'm like, am I? Because now I feel like I am, but I weren't too sure. I did give up in my head, but it just looks like I haven't. But I'm getting home and I'm super depressed. I'm not just depressed, like, I can't talk because I'm so depressed. And I'm just like, I'm not there anymore. I'm just waiting for it to kill me, really. And it's like, you know, what life is there to, I'm looking forward to, I've got things to look forward to now, but that's why I kept my girlfriend around for so long, because I was like, we'll get the thing we always talked of, we'll start a family. And I was just like, you know what, realisation, that ain't gonna happen. Like, and you know, and I feel like she's gone through enough. Just let her go, because, you know, don't drag anyone else into this. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do this properly, and then when you're all better, maybe, do you know what I mean? Like I said, just let the universe decide what you're doing. Not, oh, look, I was just trying to control that little part of my life. I'm like, it's out of control. And there's no definites, there's no, you know, talking about buying a house. I'm like, Why? But yeah, just being in denial, that's all. I think, yeah, I've never been so sure now. And I do self-talk. Talk to yourself, and don't try not to be negative, because it's, you repeatedly, I write a gratitude list. And I'm in a group chat and everyone does it, because it's part of the AA thing, and it's 10 things that you're grateful for. Try and think 10 things. A load of people can't. Oh, 10 things. I'm like, yeah, but 10 things can be, depends what you're grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm just alive. Like, where you're grateful for it needs to be a special thing. I'm like, no, it can be anything. I am grateful that I can just enjoy a bit of the sun. I know I'm about to start treatment, but this time last year I was locked on a ward, watching everyone visit me with shorts on, trying to lie to me, going, oh, the weather's crap. No, I can see it's not. You're all on your way to a barbecue. You don't need to lie. But I'm like, I'm grateful that I'm not doing that. And I'm meeting people that have got it so much worse. Even though I've got it bad, it's not, it could always be worse. Mentally, I'm being a lot more, I've decided to start doing the 12 steps, and, alcohol or not, I can easily put that down. It's when I do, I go way too much. It's not like I'm a functioning, have to drink every day, but everyone's got different problems. My level of a problem is, I know it's in the way of my actual happiness, cancer or not. But mentally, yeah, like looking into things like what I'm doing now, like meeting, this is the first day I've met other people that have had cancer. And it's because I've never wanted to, because I just think I've got nothing in common with them. I'm like, most people always ask, why me? And I never have. That's one thing, I've never gone, oh, why me? Or I'm just like, it is what it is. Which maybe is not the way to deal with it, but I just don't feel like I'm part of I never felt like I was part of it. But I am. And you meet other people and you're like, actually, I'm just being silly. But when I was on the ward, it just put me off, because people were screaming and giving up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not you. I just sat there and was like, let's just get on with it. Let's do it. Like, other people were like, yeah, the police called on the ward. And so I'm like, no, the mental side of things it's the best I've ever felt. And I'm putting all the right things in place. And I'm stay training, and then in the physical and the mental, it merges, because physically I'm like, right, I'm gonna train as if this is a fight. I'm gonna do it properly this time. Now, me training for an actual fight is like a lot. I thought I was training for a fight before when I first got diagnosed, but I was still, I weren't. Trained for a boxing fight once, and that was training. That was, sweatsuits, and I was like in the best shape of my life. But I'm training for a fight, just playing an act. This time round, I am. I'm doing as much as I possibly can without damaging my body, because obviously you just need to know your levels, and I've just always been very good at knowing where I'm at, and I'll know if that's too much. I've always been good at that, but then I also know when to. No, I've got more in the tank. I can. You get up, do you know what I mean, and go. Do another, just a little bit longer. Go a little bit further. I've never. But so you can still do it the next day, and the diet. I'm in contact with people that know a lot of cancer specialists, like nutritionists and dietitians, and all stuff on social media. I don't listen a lot about that because it's a bit mental, but some people speak some sense, and it's just real basic, like just be healthy and cut sugar out your diet. I mean, I think everyone should, and don't drink. It's like having, it's like me smoking cigarettes. Well, it's obviously the cigarette, you could get rid of that. So it's very obvious things, but it's doing it and sticking to it. And it's, I've been sticking to it, and I feel the healthiest I've ever actually felt, minus the nerve damage, but I'm still, I'm running and I'm doing everything that I was doing. So feel like I've given myself the best. I don't want to do the trial, it doesn't work, and then think, oh, maybe it is my fault, because I didn't stop doing that. I've done everything right, and if it doesn't work, at least I can rule me out. But well, I did everything, tried everything, and I'll find something else. But it'll just be, it is what it is. I just don't want any regrets with it. So that's how I'm preparing for this trial, and I'm not scared of it. I was for a bit, and now I'm like, no. All I've heard is I've got a month free. Everyone's like, oh, don't you want to just crack on? I'm like, not really. If they know what they're doing, so let them be the ones that decide that. I just heard, I can go on holiday for a week. I'm like, I can go on holiday and enjoy my life with my brother, and it could be the last holiday I have for a while. And I'm like, I used to slag off holidays. Oh, I don't ever need a holiday. No, I can't wait to go and sit in the sun for a bit and just like enjoy these last, talking as if I'm going to die, but it is last moments where it's not all treatment and scans, and because it rules your life. I do a bit of work, but while I can do it, I feel bad if I don't do it. Oh, I can run 10K. We'll do it then. Can't be lazy right now, because next month you won't be able to do it. Or you will, but we don't know. So let's just do it now, because there is no tomorrow. I know it's cheesy, but it is. Apollo Creed, there is no tomorrow, but it just, yeah. I was always like, the word control, but you know what, going to the AA meetings and learning all this stuff, you realise that a lot of it is, you're not in control of anything, and you got to let go of that. And I think I was already on the verge of it. When you have something like this happen, this is out of control. So you start looking to all the things that you are in control of. As long as I'm on top of all this, it's fine. But this teaches you, and where's that got you? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, be in control of your finances. So don't be a lunatic, but you're not in control of your relationships with people. Really, don't be horrible. Just be nice. Treat people how you want to be treated, and. But all the good things will, they'll come. Do you know what I mean? Like, just be a good person, and then everything else follows. Stop trying to force everything. And it is, I'm like, go and do this trial, but don't think too much, oh, is it gonna work? Is it gonna... Like, I've got a slight plan for after, but, when I broke up with my girlfriend, I, broke up with my entire future. That's why I went to kill myself. And it was, we're not having that future anymore. That was the only reason I was getting this through, getting through it all. And I had to find that new purpose, and I'm like, it's just to live, really, and it will come. Like, you don't need to search for it. It's probably already there. You just don't even realise, because everyone gets so caught up in other things. I'm looking forward to it being done, but at the moment, the task at hand is the trial. That's the next thing. Let's do that. I'm not, who knows, 5 years' time or anything like that. And the only thing that's pulling me through is just the will to just have the opportunity to do other things.